second success story. He launched his first tech company at age 17 and has been a serial entrepreneur ever since. But it was his journey from a refugee camp in southern Lebanon and his search for the American dream that caught the eye of President George W. Bush. Mark, this is your portrait. What's it like to stand with the former president of the United States and have something like this?
Honestly, I'm overwhelmed and very honored. I heard about this project before I knew that I was, going to be painted. And as an immigrant, obviously it had a personal meaning to me. And I thought it was like, wow, what an elegant and effective way to really bring this, issue to light. It took me back to when I was a kid in Lebanon, dreaming of coming here. And then started looking at that kid and came to realize how fortunate he is.
Mark comes from a Shia Muslim family of farmers. The year before Mark was born, war with Israel broke out.
My village was completely leveled down to the ground. My family lost everything.
Their village had been leveled, so Mark grew up in a refugee area called Wadi El Zaini. Although people came from different areas and had different backgrounds, we all shared a common struggle: poverty and lack of safety, he says.
So it's really tough, growing up there. In addition to poverty, there's also the constant wars that, were taking place, but had amazing parents, a lot of love inside our home.
Their home was a living room inside an apartment they shared with other family members. But Mark knew there was a bigger world out there and was determined to find it. When the United Nations donated 2 computers to Mark's school, he was hooked.
I sat behind that computer and for the first time writing code and learning how to use a computer, and I felt so empowered.
And you found on there the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, I read the Declaration of Independence and I felt this was the most powerful text that I've ever read. And as a child in a place where I didn't have good life, I didn't have liberty and had no right to pursue happiness, reading a text that this is your right as a human being, I found that very inspiring. And I became obsessive, coming here, and I started learning everything I can about America. And the more I learned, the more I fell in love.
Each weekend, he took the bus into Beirut to visit the library, where he devoured every book on computer programming he could get his hands on.
He eventually got a computer of his own and began to design things, including a motorized chair for handicapped refugee children. In 2006, he got a student visa, but then war broke out with Israel again.
Everything around us was being destroyed. I think it was 5 days into the war, and we all thought we're going to die at any given moment, because you never know, a missile might hit the building and kill us all.
One day, his dad handed him a debit card linked to a bank account containing their entire life savings.
He came to me with like tears in his eyes, and then he said, I've been saving money all these years. It was around $2,300, and I wanted to keep $300 for us and take the $2,000 and leave. Well, you're the only one who has a shot to live.
With only his father's Samsonite briefcase, the debit card, and the clothes he was wearing, Mark set out into the war zone, hitching a ride to the Syrian border with oil smugglers.
The smuggler took Mark as far as he could. Mark walked the rest of the way, crossed the border to Syria, and caught a bus to Damascus. When he couldn't find a flight to the United States that he could afford, someone suggested he try for a cheaper flight out of Turkey. After a 36-hour bus ride to Istanbul, a travel agent found him a flight to New York City for $500.
His first stop was the Statue of Liberty, where he read the words inscribed on its base: "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free."
I was scared. I didn't know what to expect.
He got a job at a gas station, working the night shift for 70 hours a week, cleaning toilets and pumping gas, but worked during the days on his engineering projects, which have now sparked multiple companies with dozens of employees. Obviously, you're an employer, and you're a father, and you're an immigrant. Is there anything you feel that you would want people to know about immigrants?
Immigrants are here by choice. They want to be Americans by choice. Imagine you go and say, I'm going to leave everything I know, my parents, my friends, my school, my language, my environment, my food, my everything, and I'm going to fight really hard to become an American. Just imagine how much that person is driven, and how much they respect and care about the ideals of the American dream.
We were having dinner, and I said, man, you must hate the Israelis for bombing your village. Mark's a Shia. And he said, hate takes too much emotion, takes too much time. Here's what I do. I love my family, and I love America. And that's the kind of person we want in our country.
Up next, when a young girl's family